Hello and welcome to Finals of Playoffs in BPL's 11th season Bishop Division. We are fighting our Week 8 opponent again, Queen of Roses, who completely destroyed us in Week 8 with a 5-0 victory for their team. When we last fought, they brought a Terra Grass Choice Band Kartana to rip through my team with Leaf Blade. They brought a Scarfed Greninja, which I don't know how much speed it had, but it had the Protean ability. I was not able to surmise anything about the Mega Garchomp that they brought. They brought a Setup Sweeper Peturunt with a good amount of physical bulk. And they brought a physically defensive Rocky Helm Zapdos alongside a specially defensive Leftovers Gastrodon. This team gave us a lot of trouble and was really hard to prep for last time, but I figured if I prep for what was brought last time, I should have an easier time about it. This is our team for the last time. Win or lose, we shall not be seeing this team again. And here was the team we brought last time. These three Mons didn't do jack shit. And I've really been liking the team that I've been using. So I am actually going to get rid of the specs on Zeraora, get rid of the Scarf on Lando. About keep the same moveset for Ogerpon, but change a few things, and we're just going to go what's been winning us games in playoffs. And we're going to rock with the same team that has given us victory in the past two matches, which is Zeraora, Landorus, Ogerpon, Basculegion, Pelipper, and Bisharp. As you might be able to tell, we have cooked up some nonsense here. We have Colberberry Mold Breaker Basculegion to take a hit from knockoff from Kartana or like a Dark Pulse from Greninja, right? And my original plan was to lead this against Greninja and get a hefty Wave Crash off, but I didn't want to run the risk of getting battle bonded and swept if things changed a bit. So I went with Colberberry, and I decided not to lead this. I figured I'd bring it in later. I can't stress enough how goofy this fucking Bisharp set is. Look at this nonsense. I have quiet, so that I keep some attack. I have quiet, max HP, max special attack Bisharp with Dark Pulse, Foul Play, and Sucker Punch. I plan on switching this in to Peturunt and getting my Magnet Rise off so that I can, if they decide to switch in Garchomp here, I get my Magnet Rise, then I get a Foul Play. No matter what move Garchomp clicks, it can't kill my Bisharp, and it would put me in a good position. Like, another thing that could happen is if they wanted to switch out into Kartana, right? A Foul Play chunks that thing for so much damage, and if I get a layer of Spikes up, Foul Play plus Spikes damage into Sucker Punch with this investment does, in fact, kill a Kartana. Provided I don't get a low roll on both the Sucker Punch and the Foul Play, right? Like, so long as I get average rolls on both, I will kill. Though there are some rolls that it can survive with the bulk it is allowed to invest into itself. We have Dark Pulse because Peturunt is physically bulky, and just because, like, it does so much damage to Kartana regardless. Like, if I can't get the Foul Play off for whatever reason, like, I'm going to try to be clicking that no matter what. Like, Dark Pulse isn't always happening. It's happening against Peturunt and, like, maybe Zapdos. But, yeah, it's not something I plan on clicking, but it's still going to do more damage than, say, like, Foul Play does more than physically. They just have stronger physically their physical attack stats are higher than mine with their big threats. Um, uh, moving on from our bizarre little creature we have here, we have Pelipper with Ice Beam just to catch a Garchomp lead or some nonsense. We should be able to take hits from Greninja, provided it's not any weird hidden power electric nonsense. We can take one. We don't take it well, but we do get a U-turn out, and we do get momentum in the worst case scenario, even if we lose a lot of our HP. But like I was talking about before, this Mold Breaker set is solely to just piss off Gastrodon. I forget exactly what we're faster than with this investment. It has been a bit, but we are fast enough to get ahead of, I believe it's no investment Zapdos, or low investment Zapdos. Or no, it's the next speed tier down. What was it? It's Garchomp, I think. We're fast enough to get ahead of no speed investment Garchomp. And we're fast enough to get ahead of Pecharunt, right? And then that's just like so they can't switch in Gastrodon on it. This thing is really not for damage. It is like there's a lot of attack investment, sure, but this is really more for momentum maintaining, and just chip on like various Pokemon. Say Zapdos and whatnot. Like I specifically do plan on flip turning it into Zapdos, even though I could get staticked, even though I could get Rocky Helm chipped. Like it still works. But considering that I don't plan on leading this anymore, Colbur Berry might not be the correct play. I don't know. We'll have to see when we get into the match. The Ogerpon is almost exactly the same, just no synthesis. We have U-turn instead. The exact same EVs and everything. Nothing has changed about this Ogerpon besides getting rid of synthesis for Hornleech. Or for U-turn, excuse me. But the real champions of this fight, the real Pokemon we're going to be needing to rely on more than anything else, are Zeraora with Heavy Duty Boots and Life Orb Landorus. I have 3 conditions that I need to fulfill. Once again, I took the same kind of concept that I did with my quarterfinals opponent, Ice. I need to fulfill 3 conditions in order to achieve a Landorus sweep. I need to chip Gastrodon for at least 35% of its health, or I need to chip Zapdos for half of its health. This is... It only needs to be one or the other, and this is just solely because like it allows me to set up a Rock Polish. Well, actually, let's get more into why I can set up Rock Polish. The second goal is to get Landorus in on Pecharunt. If I can get Landorus in on Pecharunt, then it threatens with Earth Power Kill, and they basically need to switch out if I still have, say, Ogerpon or Zeraora alive, right? But yeah, if they smell something cooking and they decide to click Malignant Chain, there's not much I can do besides potentially substitute, which I do not have my sub broken by Malignant Chain, fortunately, unless they get a nasty plot off. So it's like I gotta pick my fight here. But those are 2 of the conditions. The final condition is that I do not, with Terra Ground, I do not kill Garchomp from full HP. I do about 88%. Like, it is not a guaranteed kill unless spikes are up, or we get some amount of chip around that if it's fully HP invested Garchomp. So spikes are absolutely necessary, and they are the 3rd win condition. So keep that in mind. 3 conditions need to be achieved in order to sweep here with Lando. We need... And this is the only way I'm winning, I think. My other win cons are... all of my team is like heavily based around sweeping with Lando, because that is my only option. I can do chip, but I don't have any solid way to take certain mons out unless there's a misplay somewhere. But yeah. Heavy Duty Boots Zeraora is here to taunt Gastrodon and Zapdos if need be, and just deal hella damage with knockoff, remove items, Volt Switch out for momentum, and HP Ice potential Garchomp switch-ins, and keeping Zapdos' health low with that as well. But yeah, that's the team. We are pretty much expecting a similar situation to last time from Queen of Roses, which is a little gimmicky, but hey, I gotta go with it. The heavy-duty boots on Zeraora and Pelipper are just in case rocks go up. I don't plan on getting rid of them. It's unfortunate, but there's no way to stop them, so I just have to mitigate their damage as much as possible. And here's the matchup. Now, I am going to be playing this with slow speed. I am going to be playing this with sound on because this is the finals, and I will try to talk as fast as I can to convey my strategies without trying to slow down the match as much as possible. There's a couple moments I want to pause for, and I will do so once I get there. But for the most part, I'm also going to pause right off the bat, so you're going to hear the little and then I'm going to pause. But, like, fact of the matter is, Kartana is once again Terra Grass. We have Terra Poison Zeraora as a feint, just in case something needs to happen with Pecharunt or something goes horribly wrong with Landorus. It's the best option I can run. And yeah, let's get into it. Pelipper versus Zapdos lead. Rain goes up. Now, I don't like this lead at all. This is really bad. I was expecting Greninja. I was going to U-turn on it. Yada, yada this, yada, yada that. I don't want to take a discharge. I ain't taking any risks there. I'm going straight into Zeraora. That's the plan. That's always been the plan. They get a Hurricane off, which is fine. I don't get confused. I'm just going to Volt Switch, predicting a switch. Fortunately, they do switch into Gastrodon, so I get my knockoff off. I don't mind taking the damage here because I expect rocks to go up. They do. Now I hard switch out, expecting an Earth Power. I was having some Wi-Fi troubles. They click Ice Beam instead, which was a good read into the Pelipper read, or the Pelipper switch. I click Hurricane because I just want a little chip on something that switches in. I do confirm that this is not leftovers, and I go back into Zeraora, where I luckily dodge another Hurricane and get my heavy-duty boots revealed. I get an HP Ice off on the Garchomp. I was not expecting a Garchomp switch in, but we get a massive amount of damage, and now spikes are somewhat redundant, just due to the fact that we don't need chip on Garchomp anymore with those. So technically, if I wanted to go for the Lando sweep here, all I would need to do is dent Zapdos for 50 or Gastrodon for 35. Gastrodon is unfortunately only dented for 25 at this moment in time, so the sweep is not possible at the moment. They immediately switch back into Gastrodon to take the hit. I don't want to reveal Taunt yet, nor do I want to take an Earth Power just yet, so I switch out into Ogerpon. They click Recover, which is respectable, and then switch the hell out to Pecharunt. I get my spikes up, even just because it helps with the damage overall, and we get a hefty U-turn off into Kartana. And just hoping it's not Scarfed, I go into Zeraora. It is not Scarfed. It is Banded. I Hidden Power Ice to catch any switch-in. It's Gastrodon, as expected. And we finally get in Basculegion on the Gastrodon switch-in. Now, they took a moment to decide here what they wanted to do against this. Because Mold Breaker is obviously not what you'd expect. And at full health, Gastrodon is still more than preventing a Landorus sweep. I don't know if that's what they were playing in mind with, but I hadn't revealed anything about Landorus at this point when I had in the previous game. But with Mold Breaker, Basculegion out on the field, they can't exactly stay in on this because they don't know if this is banded or not, so they are kind of forced to switch here. So I just go for a flip turn, expecting a switch. I don't know what's coming in. I assume it's Zapdos. It is not Zapdos. We get a flip turn on Pecharunt, which is fine. And now we finally reveal Bisharp. Now this is going to be fun, right? So obviously we expect the switch out. And we click Magnet Rise, but it's Zapdos that comes in, not Garchomp and not Gastrodon, which kind of sucks, because, like, So I just get a Dark Pulse off, and that Dark Pulse chip allowed me to see, because I'm modest, I low-rolled here. And this is actually a specially defensive Zapdos. It has special bulk. It's not fully specially defensive, but it does have special bulk, which means I actually need to chip this for like 60% of its health if I want to get a Lando sweep. A Gastrodon's still the same situation. You need 35% chip on that. With that in mind, I proceed into Zeraora as per usual, and I'm just going to try to click HP Ice, get more damage. And unfortunately, I'm not quite landing my attacks on Zapdos. It's fine, though, because we can still keep switching into this Gastrodon. They hard switch into what's-his-face, and they get a discharge off. Now, this is when I said I don't know if Colberberry was correct because I wasn't planning on leading Basculegion anymore. Wakenberry was the other berry I was thinking about after this match concluded because I was like, this discharge. The Zapdos has speed investment, too. I should have thought about the fact that if it's a different Zapdos set with the special bulk, it should also potentially have some speed investment. But I just didn't think about it in the heat of the moment. And I unfortunately lose my Plesioth, my Basculegion. They don't want to take a Ivy Cudgel. I want to land an Ivy Cudgel, so I just go straight for it. They don't get hit. I U-turn out. Back into Bisharp, our dedicated Petra answer, and they get their health back, which isn't a huge deal to me. I don't really care if the Petra's healthy or not, because Lando always one-shots. I double into Zeraora expecting Zapdos, and I bug out with my Wi-Fi, and get a lucky crit in exchange. And now we reveal Taunt! So Zapdos' health is done. We are good on Zapdos' health thanks to that Volt Switch. It wasn't before because of the special investment, but because of that taunt into Volt Switch. Now, Volt Switch is a guaranteed win con. I know they could have switched out into Gastrodon, but at that point, I just taunt the Gastrodon. It's taken the Spikes chip damage, so it's at 63, and I would HP Ice this thing until it, like, switched out. I just keep taunting or HP Icing until Zeraora dies here if I don't get this Volt Switch, which is why I always go for the Volt Switch. I don't know why I went into Bisharp. I think this was kind of a misplay, but it's fine. It doesn't matter extensively. I get my Dark Pulse off. They can recover for free here. But I get to go into Ogerpon now. And they're kind of forced to switch this out. So I read the switch out. I go for a U-turn. And we have now fulfilled all of the conditions necessary to achieve a Landorus sweep. I just need to dodge a Malignant Chain, and they sack Garchomp, expecting the Scarf set from before. We get our Rock Polish off, and unless they freeze me with this Ice Beam, Terra Ground, Earth Power doesn't kill right here. This is why we need a chip on one of them at minimum. We don't get frozen this time around. And unless this is like Water Shuriken Greninja, which it isn't, we should win the game. And that is finals of the Bishop Divisions. That is a championship victory of the Bishop Divisions finals in our favor. Oh, it just feels so good. It feels so good. I'm sorry to Queen for my Wi-Fi issues and like disconnecting multiple times throughout the game, but like, it just feels so good to get those conditions achieved and be able to pull the 6-0 Landorus sweep out of thin air. Like Terra Ground, like those Earth powers are just so ridiculously powerful. And it's just, oh my god, this Pokemon with Life Orb and Sheer Force and so many options. It's just so powerful in Nat decks. And it's so much fun to use now that I finally got the hang of it after a whole season. At the end of the season, Landorus was 4-5. 4 kills, 5 deaths. At the end of playoffs, it is 18 kills and 6 deaths. That is a massive improvement and actually puts it as my kill leader for the entirety of the season. Unfortunately, I don't really keep track of the stats as much past the main season, but Yeah, I managed to chip down what I needed to chip, and I managed to pull finals out and get a chip under my belt. For my first singles draft league, I think I did all right. You know, we uh we did pretty well with this team. I am pretty content with it. I did not want to fucking use an Amarysterian. I did not want to fucking use Hitmontop. I wish I kept Girder, but like it is what it is. And we ended up winning the whole thing. But I'm disgusted with myself for not keeping Girder, because Girder was a pretty important part of my week 4 victory. Like losing Jirachi kind of just felt like the necessary thing to do, unfortunately. But a Amarysterian shouldn't have been on this team. This thing was so gross. I could have gotten such a better Pokemon. I just didn't like it at all. Its typing worked well. It just didn't do anything. I thought it had Defog, and it didn't have Defog. And I was dedicated to go into this match and the last match without using Hitmontop or an Amarysterian. Though Hitmontop was tempting here, I just did not want to touch that fucking Pokemon with a 20-foot pole. Like, that thing is so bad. I didn't like it at all. It doesn't get knockoff. Doesn't get anything useful besides Rapid Spin and Baton Pass. It's so bad. Yeah, the technician sets do good damage, but 95 attack and 70 speed. Its bulk is so bad, too. Like, oh my god. It can do one thing or the other, and it needs to do both. It's just such a bad Pokemon, and as my only Rapid Spinner, it kind of sucks. But that's the ball game. I'm so happy about Maractus clutching up and getting us into playoffs. We wouldn't have gotten here without Maractus. Like, barring Enamorus and Hitmontop, every single Pokemon on this team did its job well. I think Toxapex is like, if you want to exclude Enam and Hitmontop from the bunch, Toxapex is like the one mon that really didn't like do us anything spectacular. It helped us a lot in week 1. Like, it was definitely needed for winning week 1. But like, past that, it was kind of lackluster. It didn't really do much. It was kind of a hindrance more than anything else. But you know who else really didn't do that much? Ogerpon. Ogerpon applied some really good pressure in this game. And it clutched up against Iron Moth in the last, but like it really didn't do that much. You know, it got 1 kill throughout all of playoffs, I think. It didn't really do much besides apply pressure and spikes, but like it really did help out this game. I can't deny that its U-turn and spikes potential were like absolutely essential in order to win this game. But yeah, I really couldn't have done it without any single mon on this team this time around. I think the only one that like really didn't do that much was Pelipper. But it just didn't need to do anything. It just wasn't like super relevant. I never needed to use it for anything beyond the lead. And I mean, it as a lead was decent at best, but it really didn't do that well because it was against Zapdos. Once again, I think Wakenberry would have been better suited for a non-lead Basket Legion, just so I would have been able to take that hit from Zapdos and flip turn out. But it didn't make that huge of a difference, I think. I already had I was already so far with my progress at that point that I was pretty okay with Basket Legion going down. It sucked for dealing with Gastrodon, but beyond that, it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, that's season 11 of the Bishop Division under our belt. And we are promoted automatically from D4 to D3 in BPL. So next season starts a month from now. A month and a week, give or take. Like 4 to 6 weeks from now. Call it 5 to 6 weeks from now. Season 12 will be starting. I forgot to link the Discord in the description for the last video. I will do so for this one. But yeah, just if you want to join, you want to try out a draft league, the community's great. I love the people there. They're all awesome. Um, this was really fun, and I'm looking forward to season 12. I have a Pokemon or two in mind that I want to try drafting, for usage. One that's kind of similar to Landorus to some extent, but I'm also not super sure about it. I don't really know what I want to do. I wanted to go with Zeraora to start this one, because I had never used Zeraora before. But hey, I don't really know what I want to do now. I don't know what my next plan is yet. I don't know. We don't know anything about the next season yet, so it's up in the air. I might want to draft a Photosynthesis Mon next time or something. But yeah, I'm content. I'm happy. I'm pumped. We won finals. We won the whole damn thing. And yeah. Anyways, that's it for BPL season 11. If you want, leave a comment and I can record these battles live in season 12. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. They might be a bit longer. But like beyond that, I don't know. It could be better content. It could be worse content. I'm not sure if I provide the proper hype with the playback, the replays, and all that. But yeah, if you want to see a change, you want to see just the actual matches themselves, you want to hear my thought process during the games, might also help me concentrate a little better. I'm not sure. I might talk to myself and get better thoughts out of myself. It could be nice. It could be different. But the videos would absolutely be longer. That would be unquestionable. And I don't get do-overs on my takes, which is... I know that sounds silly, but I fuck up the intros to these a lot more than you think I do. And, yeah, there's not that much more to say. I'm proud of all of my team members. I'm proud of the 6 that brought me to victory. I'm proud of Maractus for getting me to playoffs. I'm proud of Toxapex for sticking around as long as it did and doing things. And Amorous and Hitmontop can both go fuck themselves. So Girder should have been here. I shouldn't have gotten rid of Girder. But that's it. I know I've said that's it like 4 or 5 times now, but that is it. That's all I have to say. So I will catch y'all in season 12 of BPL. I don't plan on uploading anything else until then. Here's the championship team. Ignore these two. And yeah, have a good one.